Welcome, my beautiful souls and my fellow Virgos. This is going to be Virgo's reading for June 2025. This will be for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Many of you are intuitively guided. Thank you for paying attention to your intuition. You could certainly be in love with a Virgo. I know I am. Virgo, Sun, and Moon. And let me tell you, it's deep. But anyway, just know that, because I read through our spirit guides, that they know you're here. So just be open to receiving messages for yourself. Some things I was picking up, Scorpio, I always pre-shuffle the cards that I'm going to use. There's a few things. Number one, I felt like for relationships, I feel like June's going to be a great month um, for real conversation. I think Mercury is going in direct, so you do want to think about, that's our ruling planet, and it can, when it's in, retrograde, it can cause us to say things that we wish we didn't. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But other than that, I really feel like this is a month that there's an opportunity to heal relationships. And I feel for those who are single, this may be a month where you really do need to step outside your comfort zone. Now, what do I mean by that? I have to tell you, I've been feeling for a while, not for a while, but for a couple months, that there was, and I feel like it belongs to you, an energy of like your intuition telling you to go here instead of there. It's like stepping outside of what you normally do, listening to your intuition, and then lo and behold, you meet someone. I've been feeling this for a while, but now I know it's for you. So, sometimes us Virgos, we can get stuck in our own way. So, just be willing, if you choose to, again, step outside your comfort zone, because I feel like that's where your intuition's going to call you, but for very, very good reasons. I feel like money, I feel like money's going to be good, though. I feel like in the beginning of the month, it may feel like, putting all this effort in, but I don't feel like I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. Well, hang on to your hat, because I feel, we have a lot of good planets coming, um, that are there to help. So, I feel like the first week, approximately, again, it can feel like, I'm putting all this effort in, but what am I receiving back? But then I feel like planetary action alone is going to help, like you start to reap those benefits. There's something about Saturn going into Aries also, which, to me is the energy of, let's just say, reward, or, well, it's karma. It's karma. And I don't know why, but 1999 is stuck in my mind. Like, think back from 1999, which I know that's like what, 20, almost 26 years. Um, but moving forward, like, how have you grown? What changes have you made that were probably hard, but now you may be seeing, like, understanding them. Um, Saturn will bring you your karmic rewards. Now, let's say I've been the opposite. And listen, when I say karmic rewards, it's not necessarily like, the work that you do. It's really, I feel, how you treat other people. That kind of karma coming back to you. If you're human, but you're really spiritual, but you're in a human body. So, anyway, let's just make a long story short. I feel Saturn, coming back into Aries, and I feel like it's been a long time. For many, is going to bring. again, what I feel is good rewards. Um, so it seems like it's going to be a really good month. It may start a little hairy, but just go with the flow and listen to your intuition because, again, your intuition is going to be speaking to you and it is guiding you. And for some of you, it's guiding you to like uncharted waters, but be excited about that. This is not anything negative. This is, I don't know, it feels spiritual. It feels romantic, like all of that. So I'm excited to get into the reading. Um, we are going to use Mother Mary to open up the reading, give her the honor. We will use the major arcanas for bullet points. Many of you know that by now, unless you're new. If you're new, welcome. I mean, welcome everyone. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. And for the main spread, we're going to use the Universal Tarot. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid down. And let's go ahead and open up this reading. We're going to start with Mother Mary. I want to remind you that you can certainly ask your spiritual team to give you signs of confirmation. You don't have to because they know you're here. I definitely know my guides connect with your guides, like as a collective. So we have a lot of help. We have a lot of spiritual help. Um, so yeah. All right. Mother Mary, my beautiful Virgos. Oh, I should also say that my boyfriend Sam is a Virgo, August 23rd. I know a few of you share his birthday. He's right on that cusp of Virgo and Leo. My birthday is September 13th, and I know a few of you share my birthday. Um, and then my nephew Sean is on the cusp of Virgo and Libra, but he is a Libra. But he definitely carries some Virgo traits. All right. What did Mother Mary want to say? Devotion. Well, I felt this right from the get go. I love it when I'm shuffling your cards, and really what I'm doing is kind of going into a meditative state to receive like any messages that may want to come before the reading. And I did get, that there is a chance to like heal relationships, but I feel like it's coming through honest communication, like honest communication. All right, so anyways, devotion. As I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God, I am clear about what to do next. Devotion. We have grace. Grace is related also to the number five. So it can speak about changes, but five would ask for the change to be graceful, like gracefully change. To me, that means it's something that I would want anyway. But grace, I am filled with the same beauty, poise, and divine perfection as all of God's other creatures. I get the feeling there may be someone who's just not feeling so great about themselves. And I feel like this message is saying to you that, you were created and loved for exactly who you are. We do pick ourselves apart, but I feel like there's a special message of saying, like, God created you in his image is like you, there's nothing you cannot do. What am I reading? Grace. Um, but like if I'm feeling less than, I feel like this is a message to say, you're not less than. That's a temporary feeling, that's a human emotion. And then last but not least, we have caring. Caring. Boy, the world needs this right now. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself, others, and the world. Now, I want you to notice how it said, I keep my heart open to caring about myself. So you need to put yourself first, especially if you're taking care of others. Oh, I knew what I was also going to say. I feel like in June, if you get this feeling of like that you just need to rest, then rest. Um, because I do feel that's going to happen. Like, who knows, maybe you're working hard and you just feel like you need this rest. Don't deny your body that rest, because it'll probably help you in many, many ways. So interesting. The messages I'm getting really have nothing relating to what's coming out, but they really are related. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. So, as many of you know, I use these like as bullet points. Um, I don't know. One day I added them into the reading, and I just love the value they bring to our readings. And I think you do too. I mean, I'm sure not everyone. The Emperor. Emperor's been coming out a lot lately, and it's so interesting that I just talked about Saturn entering into Aries energy. Emperor's looking right back at Mother Mary's messages. So the Emperor is the card of Aries. Um, that most of you know. I don't really read them as signs. Like, I'll give you the sign, but let's talk about this person. This is someone, very fitting to Virgo, because this is someone who, number one, is a natural healer, wants to help their fellow man and woman, but is also very methodical. So it may be a message like if you're not sure what to do, start making a plan, like write down the plans. Because that's really what the emperor follows. Where the empress kind of goes by the seat of her pants, the emperor feels better with an actual plan in place. But that doesn't mean like don't be willing to go off that plan also, because you just never know. Emperor's also the father figure. Normally, the emperor is someone that we can look up to. Again, someone who's had a lot of experiences. And the reason why the emperor is such a great healer is because of those experiences. Sometimes we say, like, what the hell? Why do I keep getting like this lesson and this lesson? Well, because you're probably a very strong soul, and your soul knew, or at least wanted to try to accomplish whatever it may be. This can definitely be business ownership. And, I know a lot of you have businesses. I know there's a few of you who just started. We have the moon, um, part of Pisces, but ruler of Cancer. Interesting also because I feel like there's going to be a lot of change with the new moon in June. So the difficulty that, and I'm saying difficulty, but let's just say, again, like I feel like I'm working more, or have to do twice the work to receive the same benefits, but temporary. So part of me is feeling like that is the new moon. All right. Okay. Interesting. So we have the world in reverse. However, we have the hangman in the awakened state. Now, normally I don't read reversals as it relates to these cards. Something is telling me to keep it that way. I always look at which way the hangman is swaying, and the hangman's swaying towards the world. So, there could have been some resistance to like a new chapter opening up. But it could be because of uncertainties. Sometimes we want to know everything. Same thing where I feel like if you're single, and you do meet someone, there's no need to rush it. It's like enjoy the dreaminess of the beginning of getting to know someone. Um, I don't feel like you're resisting the change that the world brings. The world means that there is a chapter ending, and we're literally in a universal year 9, the last year to a 9-year cycle. So the world's going to open up no matter what. I just feel like, this may be the perfect timing to bring something out. That's kind of what I'm feeling like. Like maybe there's something I wanted to do in the world, but I don't know, just it never seemed like the right time. But now definitely feels like the right time. The hangman in the awakened state. I know a lot of you have been doing shadow work. I know that. And I feel like you're very successful at it. Um, when the hangman's in the awakened state, truth is a must, but our own truth also. So I feel like the world in reverse, I feel like it's just for a moment. It's almost like allowing you to really get in tune with your spirituality. And then I feel like the world opens, and then everything begins. This awakened hangman is mirroring the emperor. So, business, yes. Especially if there's any spiritual energy attached to it, let's say. I do call Virgo my psychic detective. Um, and, those are for the ones who really pay attention to their intuition. I feel like you can find any hidden clauses, let's say, like in a contract. Um, but I also feel that you can read energy. So, and being in the awakened state, I feel like this can only be good news for you. Yes, the moon can represent uncertainties, but it's also very dreamy energy. But I feel like this is talking more about the new moon. Like, I feel like the new moon happens, set your intentions during that new moon, plant those seeds, and then you will reap the benefits. But you do have to plant those seeds. And I kind of love that you're planting spiritual seeds. Hmm. It's like my Virgo is all grown up now. All right, let me get a drink of coffee. I don't know why I always bring back a full cup and then I take like 2 sips. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in the Universal Tarot. We'll give it a shuffle. I'm going to give it one more. I didn't really love that shuffle. All right. I mean, I have to say, I really love this energy um, for spiritual based businesses. And to me, a spiritual based business is just any business where you're allowing your spirituality um, to lead the way. Again, the Emperor's got a lot of experiences. The Emperor's overcome a lot. And I have to, I feel like you are the Emperor. Male or female, by the way. Okay. I stopped right in the middle of a cut. All right, we're going to take what's faced up first. We have the King of Swords. Can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Can be. Whoa, what the heck? I feel like, okay, let's take them the way they came out. We have the Two of Swords. Feels like a lot of Mercury right there. We have the Magician. Beautiful. Manifester. By the way, look at the infinity symbol above his head. If nothing else, it lets you know that you're not alone, right? You're not alone on this earth, that you do have a beautiful spiritual team and you have the ability to manifest. I feel like when we learn that it's really about working hand in hand with divine, knowing what I want, but also being willing to put in the action. And then I feel like our spiritual team will guide us, will lead the way. We have beautiful, the Three of Wands, optimism. We have Nine of Swords. All right, I'm going to slide these over because I want to take five across. There we go. Look at this, Nine of Cups. Interesting, we get the Nine of Swords, and now we have the Nine of Cups. Completely different energy. We have the Star, but in reverse, under the Two of Swords. We have the Devil in reverse, under the Magician. My gosh. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Queen of Cups in reverse. And with the Queen of Cups, we have the Five of Cups in the upright. Wow. I wasn't expecting all these reversals. Um, so let's take a good look at this. Number one, we have the Nine of Swords mirroring this King of Swords. So Nine of Swords is worry. And it's definitely showing itself. Remember that as Virgo, we can certainly overthink things, to the point of like ending up in all this worry. Instead, because the Two of Swords is here, I feel like it's about facing something. Like instead of putting all this worry, take off this blindfold and face whatever needs to be faced because you have the Star right below it. That is your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. If there's anything I was going to say for your reading, it's hope. Like I feel like hope is alive, but the Star's in reverse. So I feel like that's simply because of a blindfold. It could certainly be other people who don't agree with certain plans you may have. But I would tell you, again, to trust your own intuition. As long as you're not overthinking it. Um, the devil in reverse. Well, the devil is very good at casting illusions, sometimes making us feel stuck, sometimes making us feel like, well, everybody else's dreams are coming true. What about mine? Well, the devil's in reverse. So And I love that under the magician. So, it could certainly talk about some going through, let's just say like the dark night of the soul. The devil really means temptations, things that tempt me. It's like things that tempt me in the dark. But it's interesting because you have the Three of Wands, which is really the energy of optimism. Um, it is the energy of being in the present moment, which is so important, especially sitting next to the magician. It's like, where do you want to go today? What do you want to do today, Virgo? What adventure do you want to go find? Or let's let the adventure find me. This is trusting in divine and in divine timing. In the Three of Wands, I often feel a person is saying to divine, I know that my ships, my rewards will come in. In the meantime, I'm going to keep an optimistic view. I'm going to do what makes me happy. You know, I love going down the energy of the wands because it means adventure. It means, well, it's definitely action oriented. And the Seven of Cups in reverse below it, it's like needing to make a decision. And it does feel like of an emotional nature within the Seven of Cups. But because it's in the reverse, I feel like you are making a decision. So I feel like you must be taking this blindfold off because something changes your energy. I feel like the Nine of Swords mirroring the King of Swords. For some reason, I don't know. Like, I feel it's interesting how lately the King of Swords has been getting a bad rap at my table, but I can't help the way it comes out. I feel like some of you may have found yourself in a situation, maybe with another, that, you know, probably wanted to work out. Again, I do feel like this month is an opportunity to strengthen relationships, and Mother Mary kind of backing me up on that. But at the same time, you want to make it like I want my love to believe in my dreams, right? To help me, not even help me, because, as a Virgo myself, it's like I don't really need your help, but be on my side, you know? But then we get the Nine of Cups. So it's interesting how we're going a little bit back and forth. Nine of Cups, it's a beautiful energy. That must mean that the Nine of Swords, which is extreme worry, but the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. I feel like it's more really about trusting within yourself. And I want to say, I get this feeling some of you have like gone through, let's just say the dark night of the soul, something difficult. Um, but I definitely feel the ability not only to overcome, but I feel like this, sometimes it is going through the darkness that makes us seek the light. And with the hangman in the awakened state, you find that light. So that tells me that this worry is able to go away. Now, does that mean the King of Swords is going away? Maybe, because the Nine of Cups, I often feel is singular energy. But this is really loving your life again. Maybe loving your life is too strong of a statement yet, but I feel like that time is coming. The time is coming. Notice all the nines we're getting too. Nines are always about reflection, but this is about inner harmony, which is exactly what it looks like you need. Inner harmony. It's also about fulfillment of wishes. But look how the wish star or the wish card is in reverse. And why? Well, because the Two of Swords is right above it. I get the sense that you got to trust yourself beyond anything and everyone. Like if you're feeling a calling towards something, I would at least take a step into it because it may open up a whole new path for you, but it feels like it'd be a very good path. Again, this is inner harmony, but then wishes coming true. But you do have to believe that, right? Not only do you have to believe that, but I feel like there are some wishes coming true. Um, but then it takes your action, right? You got to move into it. And I feel like the devil in reverse, I feel like these lower vibrational energies, let's just say, are no longer affecting you. So as you clear these swords on top, the Nine of Swords, the Two of Swords, take that blindfold off. Start trusting in yourself again and knowing that you can really manifest anything. You know, be realistic in that. When I say anything, if I'm trying to manifest someone who is showing me they have no interest, well, then I would say look elsewhere. You know what I mean? Because, you know, uh, us Virgos aren't going to try to, like, we're not going to try to win you over. Anyway, and interesting that the Queen of Cups is in reverse. I feel like you are the Queen of Cups. Because it's sitting also next to the Seven of Cups. So it is about making a decision, and it does feel like you made a decision. Interesting, she's coming in reverse. I feel like, even though I said I do feel like an opportunity for relationships to be saved, this queen seems to have checked out. She seems to have checked out. Um, she may have been dealing with, he or she, very difficult communication. That's what I feel like. Not just that, but I feel almost like, are you able to trust someone here? Because if you don't have trust, another Virgo trait, which, I'm totally behind. Like I want to know the person I'm with, I can trust them 100%. I don't want to have to think about it. Especially as you get older. It's like I've been there, done that. No plan on repeating that. However, then we have the Five of Cups that came in the upright. So the Five of Cups is asking you to ask yourself, where is your focus? Because it is the five, so it's an opportunity for change. So it's interesting how we're going through like these ebbs and flows. Um, but yet the awakened hangman seems to be our savior here. So I just feel like this queen has checked out. And maybe it is just moving on. Because I feel like that's what she wants. Now, in the Five of Cups, remember, because it does ask for change, but it really wants you to look at what you're focusing on. If I keep focusing on the cups that have been knocked over, instead of just analyzing them, to a point, what was my part in it? What have I learned? How have I evolved? Um, and you are the one who has to kind of break yourself free from that or refocus your mind, let's say. Remember, there's two cups behind this person. That's a soulmate energy. Whether it be love or for whatever reason the soulmate's coming in, and it's mirroring that awakened hangman. So I feel like what I'm doing here is reading a little bit of your past, moving into your present, and then showing the potential of your future. I feel like this queen has dealt with a lot of uncertainties, and it doesn't seem fair, to be honest. Like why am I always in this worried state? What's putting me there? And let's say it's a relationship. Do I have a right to find my own happiness? The answer is yes, you do. And for some of you, that's exactly what you are doing. You know, yes, sometimes we can heal relationships, but sometimes the other person doesn't want to, the other person doesn't want to do the work. And with you having this spiritual awakening, that means your vibration has lifted. And it's just natural that as your vibration lifts, that those around you whose energy does not, naturally the universe wants it to fade away. Now, our human part pulls it back in again, not always. But it could be like that may be part of the lesson. Remember, we're here for soul growth, and that soul growth comes through these lessons. And sometimes going through the dark is literally what helps us to find the light. It reminds me, Sam and I were watching a show, Ghost Adventures. And, I just think it's funny. Like, I think they're funny. That's why I like it. Um, why was I telling you this? Oh, he was just saying, like, I can't believe, like, that they're searching for the dark. And I said, well, you know, if we're light, then we're also dark, right? Where there's light, there's also shadow. You know, there's always an opposite. And when we know that, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with getting to know the shadow, right? Because God gave you power over the dark. Some of you know that. And you're using that very energy. I can't help but feel some of you are disconnecting from someone. But again, I feel like, this queen's cup has gone empty. And I feel like she's just questioning, is it right? This could be someone that she's married to. Again, we can overthink, right? But sometimes we may think like we don't have a right to go do what makes us happy. But you do. I don't think the star, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, I don't think those go away. But I feel like what it's saying is you have to know, like, first of all, you have to take off that blindfold. Just face whatever you need to face. Because that alone, it frees your energy and it may free you. And let's not forget, there are two cups here. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Okay, well, sorry, King of Swords, but Five of Swords, toxicity. Whether that be love, family, friends, it's just toxic energy. And really, it's a five. So the only thing you can really do with that, like, don't get pulled into it. Especially with Mercury in retrograde, don't get pulled into it. But I feel like it's too late. You did, but that's okay because I feel like now you're kind of figuring it out. So I feel like this King of Swords is, well, I feel like the Queen feels like her cup is now empty. Can he refill that cup? Well, because there's toxic energy connected to him or her, and because it's leaving you in a state of worry, but it is you that needs to understand that, yes, yes, there's reasons to worry, but at the same time, you know what I feel? I feel like this king has given me reasons to worry, and I don't know that I can continue to live that way. I feel like this queen has really tried everything, but I remain in a state of worry. It means to me the chances are there's someone I can't trust, someone, who I do feel like demeans your dreams, and the things that you want to do, or maybe the things you're already doing. It reminds me of like when I started tarot. I didn't tell anyone. Well, I told my kids, but other than that, I told no one. And it's not because I was embarrassed of what I was doing or that I thought it was wrong. I just knew other people, can look at it in a certain way, and I just didn't want to be bothered with that. Now, most people know, but I am like so many years into it. So, anyways, it feels like a change. First of all, it feels like clarity and then a change. And then I feel like the star card will flip around. I feel like this queen has felt stuck within a situation probably for quite some time, maybe 9 years. And again, if this queen decides to walk away, I feel like she can walk away with a clear mind, knowing again that I tried. I'm not saying that you're perfect, but I don't feel you're toxic. It's almost like, will I believe in my dreams or will I not? And if I don't, it's not that I don't feel like you won't believe in your dreams, but I feel like you got to be gutsy and just go for it. The magician right next to the Three of Wands. First of all, Three of Wands, it's being grateful for the little things in your life. Um, it is, it really is trusting in divine timing, but it's knowing that you're working hand in hand. I feel like the world turns around when the queen decides to move on because the queen is mirroring the Nine of Cups. So I feel like this queen is going to find this inner harmony and then fulfillment of wishes. Well, for some, it could be the two cups that are behind, um, like where you're focusing. See what's under that. The Eight of Cups. Moving on. Like finding emotional clarity and then moving on. The Eight of Cups, where are they heading towards? The Nine of Cups. So how interesting that, oh, look at that with lovers. Um, Again, emotional clarity, right? Eight, a new beginning. Also, the number of infinity, which is matching the magician. So this person is definitely in movement and they're moving towards the Nine of Cups. Well, we see the Nine of Cups, but the Five of Swords got in the way. But I feel like you're reclaiming it. Again, something toxic. I do see the lovers. We'll see if the lovers come out. Um, some of you may already know, like there could be someone on your mind that may be part of what the Two of Cups is. Again, a soulmate energy, whether it be love, friendship, whatever it may be. And you may meet quite a few soulmates. Yeah, remember, we have a lot of soulmates. Some soulmates come in just for a moment. We may be heading, like we have a certain path in mind, and then we start to veer off. Well, soulmate may come in and just help you to get right back on that path, and then they're gone. Soulmate can be your best friend, your child, your mother, your father, the local neighborhood cashier, your neighbor, you know? But then I feel like, and then there's a romantic soulmate. All right, let's bring in the Gilded Tarot and let's break this down a little bit more. Let's just say if this relationship was to be saved, then I feel like the King of Swords would need to do quite a bit of changing because you cannot leave Virgo in this worried state for too long. All right. We're going to start at the beginning, but read it as a whole. We have Temperance. Beautiful. Divine timing. Um, Temperance's first message is patience, though. You know, knowing, and in the Three of Wands, this is what you're doing. You're trusting in divine timing. Again, right next to the Magician. And the reversal of the world is kind of like Temperance is saying, you're going to feel the perfect time. Coming over the King. Also card of Sagittarius, by the way. We have the Queen of Swords over the Two of Swords. Interesting. King of Swords, Queen of Swords. And then we have the Hangman over the Magician. Wow. I just feel like someone is coming in between, like how you see or want your life to be. But I feel like this Queen of Swords, she's looking right at that king, but remember, she's coming she's coming over the Two of Swords, where someone's got a blindfold on. It can also be blocking opportunities. I feel like she's looking at the king like, you're blocking my opportunities. The hangman here, not in the awakened state, but here you are in the awakened state. Doesn't mean like you're perfect, doesn't mean like there's not more to learn. Like we're always learning. But the willingness to learn, that's something big. Just the willingness. Not everybody is willing. And that's kind of why I feel like this with this king. Like, unfortunately, it seems like we're in two different places now, two different spaces. And I don't mean literally, I mean spiritually. Can that change? Can this king also have a spiritual awakening? Always possible, but has to be willing at the same time. Because the hangman is in the upright over the magician, kind of feel not so willing and maybe doesn't even understand what the heck you're talking about. The Queen of Swords has found her voice and is now speaking her piece, which I feel is good for you, like to get it off your chest, whether it be heard with open ears or not. This king could just be, and listen, maybe I don't even say it, maybe I write it. Like, what's the sense of me talking to you? Because it only results in the Nine of Swords. So instead, I'm going to write it. I don't know, some may be writing like a Dear John letter, but then saying, this is why. I feel like the queen is coming from pure thoughts. I see all these beautiful white doves around her. And to me, it is a symbol of purity. But also, I may be wrong here, but I feel like when doves mate, they mate for life. And I feel like the queen had every intention of that. But again, it's like this queen had to put her own dreams on the back burner. But I feel like I'm asking, like, when's it going to be my time? You know, when is it my time to feel free to chase after my dreams? Like, I probably supported you as you bettered your career, didn't demean you like you are me. I'm not going to say I don't like this king, but what I will say is I feel this king is being very resistant to change. And it just may leave you like with no options. Like, what am I going to do? We have the Seven of Swords. Hmm. And then, oh, well, hello, lovers. So the lovers made its way out. First of all, lovers is the card of Gemini. The meaning is a head over heart decision. And coming here for the Nine of Swords, I can definitely see that. But it's interesting because the Five of Cups is below that. Some of you may be like remembering back to a time. And I'm not telling you to go back. But it's almost like someone that you loved. It did end, but I feel that you feel there's such a different energy between the two of them. Now, the Seven of Swords connected to the lovers, and over the Nine of Swords, but also the Three of Wands. So, Seven of Swords is really untrustworthy energy. Now, is it the truth because it's coming over the Nine of Swords, or is it just my worry? Well, you know what I feel? I feel even if it's just my worry, what is causing me to worry like that? Somebody must have given me a reason. This can definitely be the energy of someone who tells, I feel like a lot of lies, but I feel like they tell lies because they just don't want to face the consequences. I don't feel the lovers is this king and queen. I don't feel like we met the other partner yet in the lovers. And if you look at the image, it kind of backs that up because you see the feminine, right? She's in the current moment energy, but she's feeling energy. She's feeling the masculine who's not in person yet, but they can feel each other's energy. Some of you are just saying, I know, I know that my life can be better. And I know that I have to take certain actions, right? I have to rip off that blindfold and just face the truth. What's not working, but you tried everything. I feel like some of you may feel like, do I have that right? But I feel like the answer is yes. And the lovers, where we're not seeing the masculine yet, it also makes sense with the Five of Cups right below it, right? Those two cups that we have not seen yet. Almost like becoming single first. Now, let's say you're not in a relationship. Then I feel like it's just allowing yourself to overcome what was and being very careful not to carry that energy into, well, your present nor your future, right? We don't want past energy, things that we couldn't control anyway, to have any effect on the dreams that you do want to manifest. We have to know where we've been to understand where we're going. We have to know that planting seeds are everything. And that's what you're doing in magician's energy. You are planting those seeds. Sometimes you don't even know you're doing that. And I feel like certain seeds are coming to fruition, but it is going to take your human action. Now, I'm not telling anyone to leave anyone unless you feel that's you. Again, this queen, I feel like there is no love. Like the love feels like it's gone and it's been replaced by nothing but worry and maybe lies and maybe bad communication. You know, the toxicity, it exists. The Seven of Swords doesn't always have to mean someone's cheating, but because it's touching the Nine of Swords, there's something you're not able to trust. And I know as a Virgo, it's almost impossible to live in that energy. You know, I've done it, but as I've aged and mature, there's no way I would do it again. Like if I couldn't trust Sam, I would not be here. It's just that simple. All right, let's keep going. I feel like we just have to be careful who we give our energy away to. Are they deserving of it? And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I mean that in you have a right to live a happy life. But listen, yes, sometimes we need to go through the dark, but going through the dark is really when we start seeking the light. And it's showing you finding the light. Now, some of you may just be in the beginning of this spiritual awakening, and that is truth. That means that you're being very truthful with yourself. If you're not being truthful with yourself, you're not having a spiritual awakening yet. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but truth is, I feel like, a must. You know, but all truth, even my own truth. All right, what do we have here? Hello, marriage card. Interesting. Come here with the Nine of Cups. Temperance above it. Mirroring the Emperor. Marriage card speaks about true commitment. This is an energy where, when you fall in love, to me it feels like forever. No one is kicking and screaming. Everybody who's there wants to be there. I can also see blended families. So for some of you, this may be someone who is on your path. Probably this masculine that, again, is not in human form yet. Doesn't mean that they're not on this earth. They are. Well, hello, Knight of Pentacles. Beautiful. Knight of Pentacles. You have two energies that speak of patience. However, You also have energy that speaks about present moment. So I feel like the time, well, let's just say divine timing seems to be here. So this night brings in a pentacle. And this pentacle is truly meant to enhance your life. This pentacle is something that comes into your physical life. You know, it's not just an energy, though it does carry energy with it. This night tells you, I come at the right time. It's coming right over your dreams and wishes. So I have a feeling this is the right time. Again, I feel some of you, it's like you put your dreams on the back burner for someone, and it's like, well, where is that getting me? Heartache, worry, don't know if I can trust, hard communication. This knight is looking right at the Four of Wands. And yes, it can relate to marriage, maybe with this king, but it's really mirroring the Emperor, who I feel is someone completely different. I love that the Knight of Pentacles just came out because it means that there's an opportunity to truly enhance your life, and it's relating to your own dreams and wishes. Like, again, Saturn going into Aries, some good rewards coming your way, things that you've earned coming back to you now. Knight of Pentacles, you know, they call it a slow moving knight, but the reason why it's slow moving, and it's not really that it's slow moving, it's waiting for the perfect time. And he's looking right at the Nine of Cups. So it's almost like this knight, which I feel is a guardian angel, is waiting for you, first and foremost, to maybe free yourself, but also to find this inner harmony, even to understand that, you know, this state of worry, like, ask yourself. Again, I know why you're worried. The Seven of Swords is very clearly telling us that. And the Lovers mirroring Temperance in divine timing. Some of you may have thought this king was your soulmate, your twin flame. And I'm sorry I'm giving this king a bad rap, but it is, I mean, it is what it is. I can't believe I just said that. I used to hate when people said that, would say that. Ten of Swords over the reversal of the Devil. By the way, it's a card of Capricorn. I don't know if I said that. Wow. You know when I said I feel like this queen? But though I do want you to know, I know we have male and females here. So you can certainly be the queen also. Um, where I felt like she really did try. Like she tried. And she may have even given this king multiple chances. But yet, all the daggers of the Ten of Swords are in your back. You know, it's interesting because I feel like if I spoke to this king and said, I'm the one who keeps receiving these daggers in my back, I feel like there'd be denial. You know, it just feels like you have evolved and they haven't. Now, they have every opportunity to evolve if they so choose. But showing the hangman here not in the awakened state where you are in the awakened state. So, from the Nine of Swords to the Ten of Swords, some of you may question again, do I have a right to go live my own life? Well, Ten of Swords would tell me, let's say I decided to give this king one more chance. I have a feeling it would just go right back. Ten of Swords to me is a repeat pattern, right? Because for some reason I'm allowing these swords, like I expect these swords. It's like um using the energy of the magician, right? But we need to think about that because when we send out our intentions and we're in this all these swords state, the universe isn't going to decipher. Like, did he mean that he wanted another sword in his back? No. I expect that this sword's going to come, and I'll be damned, it does. So, I just feel like if you've given someone multiple chances, and each time it results right back to you being the one hurt, I can't tell you what to do, but I feel like it's showing very clearly. We could make this simple and just say that you're evolving, your energy's evolving, your spirituality is evolving. You're really trusting in energy. You're understanding how energy works. And this other person is not. Like, they're more than happy to stay in, let's just say, a lower vibrational energy. Well, again, the universe is going to try to make it fade away. And this time I feel like you're going to allow it. Because otherwise the Knight of Pentacles wouldn't be here. Some of you could be, connected to a bad, I want to say relationship, but it may not even be a relationship at this point. Um, and literally, it's like setting yourself free. I never feel Virgo minds being alone. Doesn't mean that we want to live the rest of our lives alone, but, like, I just don't feel that's one of our fears. Two swords. But look what flipped around. The star. Now, the Ten of Swords has gone down to the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is over you making an emotional decision. Well, again, because this queen feels like, her cup is empty. I feel like it's simply you asking yourself, is it all right? Do I have the right? And your spiritual team is like, yes, yes, yes. This is your life. You have a right to do with it whatever you want, just as the king does, right? This king is just choosing a lower vibrational path as you're choosing a higher vibrational path. The star. Now the star is under the lovers. Interesting. And over the Five of Cups, where there are two cups. We haven't met them yet. Now, some of you may. Depends where you're at within the reading. I feel like you should be able to find yourself in a reading. That's why I don't concentrate on the signs, because we're all a little bit of everything. I do feel like some of you are in that mode of head over heart decision. Well, hello, Judgment, your spiritual team, calling you to the present moment. So it's interesting because you have two energies that speak of patience, right? But it's due to, well, with the Knight of Pentacles, I bring you like this gift. And this gift is something that, well, it's going to make you happy because he's again looking at that Nine of Cups. And yes, it may be singular energy, but it's the beginning of your wishes now coming true. You know, it's almost like I spent all these years maybe married, raising a family, working, coming home, doing the dishes, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, going to bed, getting up, going to work, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, where the person that is with me is not taking any weight off my shoulders. Like it's all on me. Some of you, your kids have grown, and there's less and less holding you to someone. But anyways, Judgment, calling you to the present moment. So where there was patience was asked for, this is now. But again, it's coming over the Nine of Cups. So this energy has been cleared. You're allowing yourself to experiment. I don't feel like you know who's in these two cups or the lovers. You know, it could represent soulmate and twin flame. But your spiritual team does. And now they're marrying the emperor. Now that may confuse some of you because I do feel like for some of you, the emperor is representing like business ownership, or promotions, like being at the top of your game. Again, but willing to put that work in. But I have a feeling it's something that you love doing anyway. It's like what I do. You know, it is hard work. It does drain me, but I love what I do. So to me, it's totally worth it. And just to know that I'm helping, you know, like that is my reward. So Judgment is telling you that they need your attention in the present moment. That means that there's going to be signs sent your way. Now, if it came over the Nine of Swords, you'd probably miss it. Doesn't mean they wouldn't resend it. They would. They will. But I feel because it's coming over the Nine of Cups, now is the perfect time. Something feels like it's turning into your perfect time. And the marriage card's right above it. We have the Devil, card of Capricorn. We have the Two of Wands, beautiful. So you're not taking any more daggers in your back. We have the Strength card. And then we have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. And I do feel like for some of you, that's definitely what it means. But standing your ground in a way where you now understand that you have a right, right? You have a right to have wishes also. And you have a right for them to manifest. You know, where we have the awakened hangman, I can see the growth here. I can see the growth. Something tells me that experiencing, let's just call it the dark night of the soul, in the long run, well, I want to say is going to help you, but let's just say that through this period, you've really learned to read energy, right? Again, you may have questioned like whether someone was being faithful or telling you the truth, but now I feel like your intuition is telling you. And I feel like you should trust that over anything. Strength card means that you really are looking within yourself, knowing oneself. Like if you found yourself in a repeat pattern with someone who just didn't treat you well, like don't be upset with yourself, right? We've all been there, and that's part of learning and growing. But one of the things you do learn is what you do not want, right? And you are learning how to read energy. But this is about finding courage within yourself. And when you find that courage, you never lose it. An eight, a new beginning. And yeah, stand your ground. And it's coming over your dreams, your wishes, what you want to manifest. But sometimes I feel like know what you're standing your ground about. Like, is it worth it? Because I feel like someone is not picking up what you're laying down. Like they just don't get it. But listen, maybe that was their soul's choice when it came into this lifetime. Like, I don't want any soul lessons. I want everything my way. Well, eventually there will be karma attached to that. There already is. But you don't need to be around when it comes back to them. Two wands, you're walking away from the energy of the Ten of Swords. And what more could your spiritual team ask for? This is just you starting on this new path. And the wands, which I find a lot of people are starting on the wands path, is adventure, passion, definitely action oriented. But it doesn't mean you have to go from 2 to 10. It's just taking a step in. And that will turn the world around. It looks like I really had to learn my self worth. That's part of what maybe some of the, lesson, which I hate saying it that way, but what I've been learning. Why have I allowed this energy? And the Ten of Swords, it doesn't have to be one person. Could have been like my whole life. I feel like I've been taking sword after sword. Now I need to break that down and figure out why. I feel like there's a few of you where you're just waiting for your kids to grow. Like when the kids leave the house, now you're leaving the house. Whether you're like literally leaving the house or someone else is leaving the house. Now you don't have to live together, but you know what I mean. Okay. I want to look at um I want to look at the Knight of Cups that is looking at the marriage card that is mirroring the star card. Now we have the Queen of Cups in the upright. Looking at this knight, Three of Wands, and the Tower. Now, I do not feel like the Tower is coming for you. I feel like it's you giving someone else the Tower. I feel like it's you changing your life, to be honest. I often feel in the Tower like someone has fallen from grace, but it's not your job to pick them up, to heal them. It's their job, right? To each their own. But I really feel like you're giving someone the Tower or something the Tower, because the Three of Wands means you're in an optimistic mood. You're not in the Nine of Swords anymore. It's like we're seeing your growth right in front of our eyes. And the Queen of Cups, now in the upright. She's holding a cup in her hand. And, it doesn't have to mean like this queen is looking for love, but she's open, right? She's not closing down her heart, much like the Empress. She's touching the marriage card, though. So I feel like that's what the Knight of Pentacles is talking about. Like this Three of Wands. Remember, we have the Three of Wands up here, and it is trusting in divine timing. And it's literally telling you, like, first of all, putting your intentions out there. And now that the star's in the upright, I feel like now you're going to start manifesting. Now some of these dreams are going to start coming true. But boy, I do feel like you've been on a journey. But this is really a change of perspective. Maybe a change of location. But this finds you in an optimistic mood, like trusting in all is possible again. Where here, the energy feels very, very limited. So, I feel like this is going right to the king. And maybe that's what your spiritual team is waiting for. Again, because number one, the Knight of Pentacles, what it brings in, it's meant for you. It's meant for you. And then whatever you do with it is whatever you do with it, right? But it does give you an opportunity to truly make your life better. It really does help enhance your life. And the Knight is coming right over the reversal of the star. But then the star flips around. What's this? Why do I have cards here? Oh. All right. I'm not done yet. I feel like there's more I want to look at. I think what I want to do. Let's look at the lovers. Let's look at the lovers. Because I feel like this is the future, not the past. Now, it could be a past life. We know that there is a soulmate. This king could have certainly been a karmic soulmate. That means that there were lessons for you to learn. What does karma really mean? We're creating karma every minute. Either good karma or bad karma. But eventually the day comes where we're either rewarded, just like I was talking about Saturn in Aries, or we have to face the karma that we created. Good luck, King. Good luck. Good luck. we have the Four of Cups. We're looking at the lovers. So this just feels right because the Four of Cups is discontentment and boredom in one's emotional world. But literally, a cup is coming in. We see it. It's coming from the hand of divine, and you see it also. Now, it can be a feeling, but this really asks you to trust your spiritual discernment. Remember how, again, we could feel the masculine's energy, but he hasn't entered our life yet, he or she? Well, now here comes that cup. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it comes for you? And it's coming. So we know the lovers has yet to happen. Now, in this lifetime. Though I won't leave out that some of you could also be thinking of someone of the past. But I mean like back, not the one who carried the toxicity, not the energy that kept putting swords in your back, not the energy that, you didn't know whether you could trust anyway. Because I do feel like the love there was drained. Um, if this, like, let's say you do want to save this, well, I'm not going to say that's impossible, but boy, I do feel like it would take some work. And let's say this person, because of all these swords we're getting associated with them, could certainly carry narcissistic energy. I would not tell you to stay. Like, you know, we're not here to fix them. We're not here to fix them. Like, their spiritual team, whether they choose to listen or not, are the ones who will either help them or probably trying to help them. But at the same time, if they're just refusing it, well, then they made a choice, right? And their spiritual team's like, okay, they made a choice. And in that choice, there probably will be consequences. And I feel like one of the consequences is losing you. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out with that. Actually, I think what I want to do is move, now that we know, which I already felt, that the lovers hasn't yet happened. Though again, I want to remind you, especially with the hangman in the awakened state, perfect time if you had a soulmate or a twin flame of a past life. This may be the right time for it. And, these type of relationships, I'm in one. Um, we do hold a mirror up to each other. So the more that we can clear past energy, the less afraid we have to be of that mirror because that mirror is going to reflect ourselves. And I know that energy. All right, so I think I want to come down to Judgment, the Four of Wands, which let's just call a true commitment, over the Nine of Cups. This is where you now feel you have this inner harmony. And look at your spiritual team all around it. Judgment, the Knight of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. Six of Cups. So that is probably why I kept feeling that some of you may know who this masculine is or feminine. Again, those two cups that have yet to be found. But then now we have the Six of Cups, which really talks about treasured memories, happy times, I'm a Virgo and I'm back with my first love when I was a teenager. So I will not leave that off the table, though I know some get upset with me. But that's just one version. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to mean it's for everyone. But I do want to say with this energy, this definitely feels like a past life love. And this feels in this energy like this is the right time, the perfect time. Interesting how this queen, I feel, has spent so many years unhappy, unfulfilled, and simply through her own actions, of just no longer taking it. Look what then opens up for her. But it feels like part of the lesson was reclaiming your power, reclaiming your voice, your truth. If someone is comfortable living in low vibrational energy, but you're not, well, that's your answer. You can't make them evolve. Anyway, Six of Cups. Interesting. Let's just take a couple more around that. Yeah, it's funny, Virgo. I never want your reading to end. Like, I could read, and it's not because I'm a Virgo, it's just your readings are always so interesting. Eight of Wands, fast moving energy. It's also what I think about, I bring about. It's the art of manifesting. Look at those wands that are going out into the universe. And a lot of images, you'll see four wands going out and four wands coming back. Those are your intentions, those are your wishes. But it's telling you it has the opportunity to now return. Or do I feel like someone's returning from a past life? It seems to be the theme lately. And when? Well, I feel like as soon as you're in this energy, doesn't mean you're looking for it. Because chances are you're not. Maybe you are. Or let's just say some are. Some would like to have, a true relationship with true love, true fulfillment. Honesty is a must. Loyalty is a must. You cheat once on Virgo, she'll never trust you again. He or she. Doesn't mean that, we can't work through it, but that trust level is like once you break it, good luck. Good luck. All right, well, hello, Ten of Pentacles. And with the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Page of Pentacles. And we're still looking at the Knight of Pentacles, who is bringing this pentacle in. It tells you that it is the right time. Um, but where I felt for some of you, it's like dreams that were put on a back burner, but now you're bringing them to the front burner. Front burner. Well, hello, abundance. And if this is also speaking about love, well, to me, this is the house of loyalty. And I know not everybody reads it that way, but I do. If I feel that, if I feel it, but I am feeling it. To me, this represents something that can truly take root and last for the rest of your life. Some of you, this could be something that you went to school for with the page, but maybe again haven't had the opportunity to bring it about. The Page of Pentacles is on a learning that, we've all gone through the Page of Pentacles. And this is learning. and learning and growing. Now, for some of you, this could also be someone of an earlier time or you in an earlier time. But I don't want to take away the fact that I feel like whatever you're doing that's going to create the Ten of Pentacles for you, it's like you have this wisdom, you have this knowledge. And it doesn't have to mean book smarts, it could just be life experiences. I also wonder for some of you if this page is representing the same as the Six of Cups. So let's follow it. Since I asked the question, is this page, well, I didn't get my whole question out, but our guides know. Hello, Empress, to the Emperor. And then look at this, the Ace of Wands. Wow. Ace of Wands, passion ignited. Literally like your heart chakra is being activated. Yes, it needs your action. Right? You need to reach out and say yes to this ace. But it's that feeling first. It is literally the energy of the lovers. The feeling of passion. Maybe before it even arrives. But when it does arrive, it's telling you that you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it probably in a much different way. Boy, do I love that the Empress just came out. The Emperor and the Empress are my power couple. And by the way, I feel like now it's saying whoever you may connect with next, even if they're someone of the past, I feel like they are on the same vibrational level as you. They are also, if not already had a spiritual awakening, they're going through it. You know, it's not an overnight thing, a spiritual awakening. But as we start, to work in that direction, I feel like things just change. Like we're very clear about what we want. I can tell you one thing. I feel like as you move forward, there doesn't seem to be like where you're going to need anyone to come in and take care of you financially because I feel like this is a big part of your reading. Like you allowing your dreams to exist, and putting those intentions out into the universe with as much optimism as you can. And your spiritual team is hearing it and it feels like applying it in your life. I love the Empress is now under the Knight of Pentacles. Wow. That Knight promises that what it brings in is truly going to enhance your life. So not only do we get the Ten of Pentacles, which is fantastic for your money, for your dreams and wishes and what you want to do in the world. It's like your spiritual team is saying, we're 100% behind you. But also, as it relates to love, well, there's no one else I'd want to see than the Emperor and the Empress. I feel like they are very similar. They have similar goals. They definitely have similar morals. They both care about people. Doesn't mean I want to be out in the crowd, as I was going through a spiritual awakening, I noticed that like I had like before when I was young, going to concerts and all that, like I just loved it. And now it's like being in a crowded room with a lot of noise, it bothers me. Like it bothers me. So I'm more happy just like Sam and I, and family, but like going to big parties and that, not that I'm telling you not to, but it is something that I noticed. Like, I watch the world news, but I don't watch our local nightly news. And the reason I don't watch it is because I feel like what they talk about are things that I cannot control. Like I don't want to hear about someone's child dying, and there's nothing I can do. So I made a conscious effort that I'm going to turn the news off. But I do watch the world news. But other than that, wow, it literally feels like we've gone through hell and now we're entering heaven, but heaven on earth. And yeah, it's not overnight, but it takes time, right? Like don't look back at these experiences and be like, what the hell was I thinking? You know, chances are there's something that your soul learned that's very valuable. And I feel like for some of you, it's like it's what's helped you with this spiritual awakening. I feel like this queen has been, like this is what I'm picturing in my mind. Like I'm on YouTube and something pulls me into like a spiritual type of reading or just anything that has to do with spirituality and it grabs my interest and I want to learn more and more. That is my story. Like I couldn't learn enough fast enough. And if you're having that spiritual awakening, it would make sense that who's ever entering your life, well, part of it's because of you, though, because I feel like you're putting out different intentions now, coming back to you. And I really don't even feel like we need to worry other than knowing that you're going to be guided. Again, just how I opened the reading, like, stepping outside your comfort zone. But I mean that in a way of like, like something is telling me to go to the library. I haven't been to the library in years, but so I go. And, I'm either going to find something that is going to start me on this new path or going to give me the information I need, or there could be someone I meet. I feel like as it speaks about new love, it's about taking chances, but the kind of chances that more energetic. Sometimes you don't even have to leave the house for love to find you. Again, that was my case. My phone rang 40 years after the fact, and it was Sam. Didn't expect it. He always had a place in my heart, but I was living my life, he was living his life, and then we reconnected, and now we are living together. And I do feel like we are the emperor and the empress. That may sound a little egotistical. I don't mean it like that. I mean, it's the way we choose to live our lives now. I'm thinking back to like some of the people I've been with who totally wouldn't understand what I'm doing, but so be it. Okay. Boy, I don't know. Is there anything else I need to look at? Let's pick up this though. Give ourselves some room. I think I'm gonna come over and look at the star. And then we'll bring out the clarifying love situations. And then we'll bring out the romance angels. Oh, so weird. I just shuffled my deck. So let's go ahead and give it a cut. That's weird. reason for it, I'm sure. We have the High Priestess. Oh my God, the Ten of Cups. And we're looking at the star. By the way, the star is attached to the lovers, and now the Ten of Cups is attached to the lovers. Your intuition is what's going to guide you. I knew it all along. I could feel it all along. Like your spiritual team, they're going to send you signs. And because there's no longer blindfolds being worn, you're going to pick up these signs. And where is it leading you to? The house of harmony, the house of love. But look what comes out with it, the Nine of Swords. But here's what I feel like this is saying. The Nine of Swords, again, it's very natural for Virgo, right? Where we can overthink. And I feel like what your spiritual team is saying, this is a place where you want to trust your intuition. You know, you may overthink for a second, but realize that. Like, wait a minute, am I overthinking? Know that. And remember, this is about just stepping onto the path. And I feel the rest will open. It's already showing us the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. And your intuition and your spiritual team guiding you right to it. Now it makes a lot of sense that the Knight of Pentacles is coming in looking at the Nine of Cups. Oh, I just realized the Nine of Cups to the Ten of Cups. Hmm. Okay, let's bring in the clarifying love situations. Let's just assume at this point that the world has now turned around, which means that this new chapter is opening up for you. But you're allowing it. That's the thing. You're allowing it. You know, the world can certainly represent, because the magician is underneath, it can represent 2026. We're in the year of the hermit. So it is about reflection, but final reflection. The hermit does go through the dark night of the soul, but seeks the light. And I often feel like what the hermit realizes is that I am the light. I am my own savior. Like I can look back at my life and think about the times that I had hoped for someone to come in and save me, but nobody did. So I learned that I had to be my own savior. Well, there's true power behind that. That's the type of power that no one can take away. Just like the strength card, courage. Once you have it, you always have it. Oh, forgot what I was doing. All right. I'm going to take them out just like they came. We have resilient roots. Endure the storms, protect your core, and grow stronger with each challenge. Wow. Temporal bonds. In the realms of flighty bonds, true connections waver, but endure. In the realm of flighty bonds, true connections waver, but endure. See if anything else wants to come out. I think when we learn that it's natural, that there's going to be chapters that are meant to close and new chapters are going to open, and then they have their time, right? But, some things, especially when you see the world, I feel like can last for the rest of your life. Wow. To me, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Four of Wands, there's like so much beautiful energy, even though there's so much difficult energy. But difficult energy is at the beginning of the reading. Masked realities. Beyond posting facades and cover ups, dare to unveil truth hidden beneath. Oh, wait, let me reread that. Beyond posting facades and cover ups, dare to unveil the truth hidden beneath. That's that. That's that. All right, let's bring out the romance angels. You know, like, wow, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to say because I feel there's such a change of energy here. Like, literally going through the darkest of darks to the lightest of lights. And it all happened because of your willingness to take a chance on you. And soon, probably a chance on another. Healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Interesting. I always find that interesting because I feel like, sometimes we find ourselves in, and we do have the mother and father energy here. But sometimes we do find ourselves in like a pattern that our parents had, something that maybe we didn't really like as we were growing up, but then, you know, turn around and end up like exactly with the same type of person. Now, I'm not saying every mother and father here is bad. I think of my own father and how I was a dad, I'm daddy's little girl. Um, but, you know, the reality is he cheated. He cheated a lot. I think I said this in Leo's reading, like, as I was growing up, well, as I was an adult, I had stepbrothers and stepsisters like I didn't even know about. So all I'm saying is sometimes we do repeat those patterns. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. Wow. Wedding. This situation involves marriage. Literally, here is the marriage card. Let's take one more. Wow, how interesting one came out. Wow. Someone from your past is returning to your life. So we had the Six of Cups, which can certainly speak about someone from the past. But again, it's someone that we have really treasured memories of. But I do feel like for some of you, because we're having these spiritual awakenings, it does kind of feel past life energy. But not just that. I feel like, healing family issues and pay attention to the red flags is everything that was in the beginning of the reading. I feel wedding and someone returning to your life is everything that is yet to come in. As I allow, I feel like more and more, well, wishes and dreams start to manifest. But don't forget, plant those seeds. Plant those seeds. Someone from your past. is returning to your life. And with all the divine energy down here, there's no way do I feel like this person is a narcissist or this person, it's literally showing us that this energy does feel like it lasts for the rest of your life. And hello, Ten of Pentacles, the house of abundance. And then the Ten of Cups, the house of love, of harmony. And you finding harmony within yourself first. You know, it's like you're no longer allowing this person who, let's just say, didn't treat you right, who did put daggers in your back. You're not going to let them, especially with the Empress, out. Like, because remember, she keeps her heart open. She remains loving and nurturing. But she's so powerful because of her experiences. She's learned from those experiences. And there is no one who can pull the wool over her eyes. I really feel the Emperor and the Empress carry, which we all do, this energetic force around us. And just like where it says pay attention to the red flags, as one of those red flags come towards us, it sets off our alarm system. Now we can ignore it, which many times we do, but I feel like that's like when we're younger. But then as we really start to learn about energy, then we pay attention. Another way of saying that is you don't need to create barriers around you because your intuition, right, your energetic force is really your protector. Like you can't get to the Empress without going through her energetic force. And if you're in a lower vibration, again, her alarms will set off and you'll probably run. Not you, them. But if you're loving, if you're truly looking for love that can last forever, and I'm talking to the other person now, if you really do care, if you carry empathy and compassion in your heart, well, you just may be the right person for me. So it's like your life is changing. And I know that seems extreme. So you definitely want to find yourself in this reading, you know, but, and I know some people are going to be like, yeah, I want this, but I know it's not going to happen. Don't say that. Expect good things to happen. Expect good things to happen. Remember with the magician here and the Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about. Well, if I expect something bad to happen, well, the universe isn't going to let me down. But what if I change that around? What if I come from the energy of optimism? Even if I have little around me, I'm still breathing, right? I always have something to be grateful for. The sun came up today. And then put your intentions out there. Again, planting those seeds and watching them come to fruition. It's like your spiritual team's going to blow your mind. That's what I'm going to name your reading. Like your spiritual team's going to blow your mind. But everything here is because you deserve it. There's nothing here, it's magic. It's because you deserve it. It's because you know that going through that dark night of the soul or the darkness has probably taught you more than anything. But now you're seeking this inner harmony. And I feel like that's exactly what you're going to find. But you do have to know when enough is enough, as it relates to other people, right? Like how many chances am I going to give the same person if it keeps resulting back to the Ten of Swords? I feel like I'm rehashing the reading. What I want you to do This is what I worry about when people don't watch the end of the reading because I feel like that's where our silver lining lies. And there's always a silver lining. All right, guys, I'm going to let that be. What a reading. What a reading. So, if this person isn't someone, because we have the Five of Cups, so this queen could have certainly had someone of yesteryear on her mind. Um, so I feel like that's a potential. But I also feel like for a lot, this is past life. But that makes sense when you think of soulmates, right? Because when you know each other for eternity, and there's a real recognition. I just did a twin flame podcast just talking about like the side. I did a soulmate one too. I'm doing more and more of them. Um, but anyway, I'm still talking. I'm going to let that be, guys. I love you. Thank you. I always love doing your reading. Um, Man, my prayer for you is that all this beauty that I feel is well earned and well deserved, that you allow it to find you. Like that's how it feels. Just allow it to find you, and it will. Okay. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye, Leo. I was going to say bye bye, Leo. Bye, Virgo. Sorry.